In addition to that, do you have updates on George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Dre Greenlaw, Ross Dwelly, and Ben Garland?
No updates. They're all about in the same situation. I think Kittle might do a little bit today, but we're still taking care of him.
Hey, Kyle, obviously you've had a lot of kind of moving pieces at the center and guard spot there throughout this camp. How did that play out in your mind? And do you have are you concerned at all about that going into week one?
I mean, you're always concerned about guys who haven't been playing and with the injuries, that we've had and stuff at that position and a few others. But I think a lot of people are in the same boat around the league, and I think we got an idea of the guys that we want to go with. But we got to see how people heal and over this next week or so, and who's in the best health and football shape to be ready for next Sunday. So that's we got an idea of what guys we like and want to go with. But that'll probably be playing out all the way up till next week.
Kyle, I realize that both of these guys are kind of under situations where there's a lot of competition. It's going to be tough for them to make the team. But a couple of the guys that were previously very high draft picks, Deion Jordan and Kevin White. I know you haven't seen a whole lot of Kevin White, but with both of those guys, if you could talk about each individually, can you see the qualities, the athletic skills that enabled them to be such high draft picks?
Yeah, you definitely can. I mean, those guys, the way their bodies are wired, you can definitely see that. And I think it's been a huge credit to, starting with Deion. It's, I think this is his first training camp since 2013. So he's been through a lot of stuff, and for him to come out here and battle throughout this whole camp, especially with a lot of guys down, where he's had to pick up the reps and go extremely hard on a consistent basis with a limited number of D linemen, he's earned a lot of my respect, and it's been very impressive that way. And Kevin, same thing. I'm just glad for him that he's got another opportunity. He's came a lot later, than Deion. He just got here last week, so it's been very limited with him. But just for being a top 10 pick and stuff, and the way he's come in, he has been very eager to learn. He's been great to have around, and wish we could have him here a little bit longer.
Hey, Kyle, while you guys are practicing in here again today at Levi's, is part of that just so you can, I guess, work on the sound and the visuals, and then when you get into a game, if the noise is going to be muted somewhat, do you have to worry about like hushing your play calls or else maybe using a stronger cadence?
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% why we're going in the stadium today. We're still trying to figure out the noise. We went in there a couple practices ago to try to figure it out, and we need more work at that. There's a few things to experiment, and the rules aren't official yet either. So we're experimenting with a few things, and hopefully we'll get that solidified this week. Yeah, if it's silent in there, it's definitely going to be a difference. I mean, I don't know how much. I mean, I don't call them very loud anyways because it would drive the quarterbacks crazy if I screamed into the microphone, which goes into their ear. So I usually just say it at a normal voice level, unless I'm in New Orleans and I can't hear myself think. But like the defensive calls and stuff like that to me is a bigger deal. I mean, every time you change strengths and you get to hear what the middle linebacker says to and all their calls and stuff. I mean, a lot of quarterbacks could pick up on that. So, you're hoping we can get some noise in there so it does feel a little bit more like a real football game. We're just trying to figure out if that noise is constant, what decibel it's at, and all the things that go with it, which we don't have a ton of experience in that. So we're trying to figure it out this week.
Kyle, Trent Taylor's been on quite a roller coaster over the last 2 years, kind of making his way back. What has stood out to you about his journey and getting ready for week one?
Just his perseverance. I mean, he had a great rookie year for us and was coming back, expecting to have a better second year. And, the back trouble that he just battled through the entire second year where I don't think he ever went on IR, but he just it was tough for him to go through that year, not truly being himself. And then to get his back fixed going into his third year and having a great camp, and then to have the injury on his foot that he did where, we were expecting him to be back by week 3 versus Pittsburgh last year. And he had so many setbacks with an infection in it and had to get a number of surgeries. So just something that was extremely discouraging for anyone to go through, especially following the year that he had before with his back. So for him to go through that for 2 seasons and then come back and have a competitive camp where he's been able to make it through all of it, where he's had up, down, he's had some good days, some bad days. He's had to fight through soreness like everyone does in camp. I'm really proud of him and happy for him that he was able to stick with that with all the adversity he did face. And he's just been kind of obsessed with getting into week one with playing, and he don't want to talk about his injuries very much, which I respect. But he's as tough of the guys I've been around, and I'm really pulling for him.
Hi, Kyle. Obviously, you lost DeForest on the inside of the defensive line, but given what we've seen from Contavious, from Kevin Gibbons, from Solly this camp, and I guess even Kerry Hyder's a player that started on the inside, do you feel that you have a chance to be deeper on the inside on the interior of the defensive line this year?
I mean, I think with the health of those guys and adding Kerry and stuff, you might have a chance to have a little bit more depth. But I mean, you can't underestimate losing a player like DeForest. I mean, he's as good of a teammate and one of the best players in the league at his position. We feel we had got some guys there and stuff, but that's not easy to just come in and replace someone like that. So we got a group of guys who it's going to take them some time. But I'm glad we got a number of guys who can do it. We got a number of guys who are capable, and it's going to take a bunch at first, and hopefully they'll just keep getting better, and we can try to fill that void.
Hey, Kyle. Charlie Woerner had a reputation of being tough in college, which I guess is not surprising since he's a blocking tight end. But anyway, have you seen, even without live tackling in preseason games, that he has the necessary grit to do the job, at the NFL level?
Yeah, I do. He is a good blocker and does things in the pass game too. I mean, he's George in that way. Everyone said we drafted a blocking tight end in George. Only because he didn't have many past stats. I'm not trying to put that pressure on Charlie. But he comes in and earns his way by being a tough player, by really want to get after in the run game. I mean, George told us when he met with him in Tennessee that we had the right type of guy, because the first thing he said to George was how bored he was with all these pass plays, when we're going to start learning some run plays. So I think that can kind of show you his mentality, which is similar to George's and similar to our whole tight end group. We got some tough guys who do the run and the pass game, and they enjoy both plays.
Hey, Kyle, with the wide receivers, with the two rookies, not having OTAs and rookie minicamp, and the guys who've just gotten here, do you have to kind of simplify the offense at all for them?
Yeah, you try your hardest to simplify it for them, not keep them at one spot. But that's all good until you lose a guy in a game. There's only so many guys you have up, so you got to be able to move guys around. But our from Debo not being out there as much, being hurt, Ayuk. He came in strong, learned it very well, but now he's been out. We're hoping to get both of those guys back next week, but it's stuff that those guys got to keep up on, and they have from a mental standpoint. But you're gonna have to go through some things with them that you understand as a coach, and you got to constantly challenge them and put pressure on them. But you also got to understand a little bit of that's going to come. There are some rookie issues you got to go through, and we're counting on those guys to be out there. But what's been good is the opportunities they've opened up for everyone else. We've had some other guys step it up to regardless of who we have up next week. I feel we're going to have guys going in there who know what to do and guys who give us a chance to win.
Following up on Nick's question about guard from earlier, it seemed like the Brunskill, Tom Compton competition had to be put on hold for a little bit. Is that back on at this point? Is Brunskill getting more guard reps now than center reps?
I think he's still going at both. It depends on what day it is. We try to balance it out over a 4-practice stretch, so we can be ready for anything. I don't remember what he got last, but no, we're still balancing it out because none of that stuff's settled. We don't know the health of Garland yet, how he's going to be next week, and how that's going to go for both the positions. So it's kind of a nice situation for me because we know that we had a competition to see who's our starting right guard, and it's kind of been hard to have a true just starting competition at right guard when both of those guys got to be playing center, and the possibility of starting at center and what gives you your best combination for week one. So all that's going into play, which makes it to where I wouldn't want to give you the answer, but I truly don't know the answer anyways because of this situation. And, I know Garland's not going to be trying to come back till next week, and we're going to have to play that out, see how it goes, and see what the best lineup is.
Kyle, where do things stand as far as between weeks 2 and 3, playing the 2 games in New Jersey? Have you gotten approval to stay back there? Where are things right now?
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I haven't thought about it much, but I'm expecting that we can go there and stay there. And I think we're going to stay at the Greenbrier in between for a week. So I believe that has been improved. No one's told me that we're not doing it. So usually someone tells me if something bad has happened, and no one has told me. So I'm counting on that to work out right now.
Hey, Kyle. Jordan Reed said last week that so far with the 49ers, he's having the most fun playing football he's ever had. Can you see that in him out there? Can you see that fun in him, so to speak?
Yeah, well, I know Jordan's been, he's had a tough couple years trying to come back from injury and stuff. And anytime that you haven't played football in a little bit and you get out there and start playing again, I think guys remember how much they do like it and how much they enjoy it, especially when it's been taken away from them for a while. So I do see that with Jordan. He's enjoying playing again. He knows some guys on the team. So when you do come to a new area, it's always nice if you do have some familiarity with some of the players. So I think he's been good in that way. But I'm excited for Jordan. He hasn't been to still battle back from some things, but when he has, he's done a good job, and we're going to keep trying to push him to get out there more.
Last one, folks.
Cal, it was, you kind of smiled and chuckled when you said Kendrick Bourne is the veteran in the room, and he's kind of come in with a different mentality this year. Was it a kind of a switch that flipped with him, that he came in with a new maturity, that he's, taken more responsibility on himself?
I mean, Kendrick is the same guy every single day. So that's not going to change with how he carries himself. But I think it's confidence with going through experiences. I mean, Kendrick's helped us out every single year. But last year, we relied on him even more than we had the previous two. And for him to kind of earn that role as one of our top three receivers consistently for the second half of the year, and how good his game got and how reliable he was, that's to me what's changed him. He's been out there. He's had some bad drops in games where he's had to come back the next week and make it up, and he's done that. And to experience all that stuff, I think whether it's good or bad, it ends up making you a more confident player, more confident person, because you know what you're capable of doing because you've done it. And once you do that, you realize how much more you can do. And I think he's just been excited with the success he has had, and he knows he can still get better. So when you know you've been successful in this league and you still know there's more in you, I think that's kind of what he's feeling right now. You can tell how he walks around, how he works, how he attacked the offseason, because he knows he's got a chance to do some good things, and he's working to do that every single day.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
good.
Hey, Jimmy, just curious, given that the situation with the in-stadium noise is still up in the air, how are you guys going about preparing for that in terms of, the signals, maybe switching up calls? Just what's the approach been so far?
Yeah, well, I think nothing's set in stone right now, so we've been kind of mixing it up with, trying without noise, trying with the noise at different levels. We've been in the stadium a couple times trying it, so we've gotten into a pretty good rhythm of it. I think we'll have to be ready to go for both of them, though. We just, whether the home team wants it or doesn't want it, we'll be ready either way.
Hey, Jimmy, with all the kind of moving pieces you guys have had at right guard and center, I'm just curious what kind of challenge that's been for you in camp, and how have you seen kind of things coming together in those two spots?
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult when you're mixing and matching like that, but in training camp in the past, we've done it before where we're mixing guys in and out, especially up front. You're just dealing with injuries, and you never know what's going to happen throughout the season. I think it's good to get into that, get into that early and get experience with different centers, especially with just the relationship and, all the calls that we have to make together. It's just, there's a lot that goes into it, but we've handled it well. I thought all those guys, whoever's rotating at center, guard, even the tackle spots, they've done a phenomenal job so far.
Hey, Jimmy, Trent Williams talked about how it's not really knocking the rust off as much as kind of calming his nerves. He doesn't seem like a guy who would be nervous at all. He seems very relaxed. I mean, he's ginormous. What is it about him that, you can kind of see him progressing towards week one? And then also, how does he change what you can do on the offense?
Trent's been so solid since he came in. I think, as far as guys getting nervous, I think that's a good thing. When guys get nervous, it means that the game means something to them. There's more emotions involved then, and you kind of you don't want to lose that. And so that you'd love to hear that out of Trent. He's been so progressively better and better every day, just with the system and learning all the little things that go into it. It's been impressive. And so you tip your hat to him, and he's just going to keep being the leader that he's been this whole training camp for us.
Hey, Jimmy, as regards to the other Trent Taylor, how have you seen him come along through camp the last couple of weeks? And is he different from other receivers in that he just loves getting grass stains and getting dirty and getting down on that?
Yeah, I mean, we got a couple guys like that. KB likes to mix that up too a little bit, But yeah, Trent's been so consistent throughout this whole camp. Just the little things that he does, the way he communicates to me, just the pictures that he's seeing out there, what he's feeling from the DBs, and it's been impressive. And so to have a guy like that, guy that where he's going to be, you can count on him. It's makes my job a lot easier.
Jimmy, the other day, Jordan Reed said that he's having the most fun he's ever had playing football in his life. Do you see that from him, a guy out there who's just really happy to be out there and having a good time?
Yeah, you see it from a lot of guys. It's just it's kind of the atmosphere in the building, that we've built here, and it's contagious. You get Jordan out there and he starts making plays. I mean, it's I'd be having fun too if I could run routes like that. He's he's a pleasure to throw to. He works hard, puts the time in. It's you love having guys like that, guys on every part of the team. It's just it's fun to be around.
Hey, Jimmy, maybe one of the few areas of your game that's been critiqued is your deep pass accuracy. Do you feel like you've improved there this offseason?
I think it's one of those things. You're always thinking about it. You're trying to improve different aspects of your game, whether it's the deep ball, just being accurate on every throw. Really, I mean, you want to go for the completion every time, but you got to take it when the time and place when it presents itself. But as far as the deep ball, I don't think it was anything out of the ordinary. I like where we're at right now.
Jimmy, Kyle mentioned the interceptions that you threw to Richard Sherman earlier in camp, that Richard just might be on a different level mentally, and obviously goes against you guys a lot, so he has a good understanding of the offense. But do you ever talk with Richard about those things and why he might be anticipating some of the things he is on the field and things like that?
Oh yeah, all the time. All the time. Sherman plays DB, but he sees the game as kind of as a coordinator, offensive and defensive at times. Just whenever we have a play like that, or if he jumps a route and gets his hand on it, whether it's asking him, what tipped it off, did we do something, did he hear something, and he won't always tell you. You know, he's a competitive guy at the end of the day too. But you know, those are the competitions you love in training camp, and it's only going to make us both better. And so, you know, I always pick his brain whenever I can.
Hey Jimmy, I was wondering just on Brandon Ayuk, what was your scouting report when he was on there, when he was on the field, and what do you think he brings to the table that wasn't on the team last year?
You know, when he's out there, you know, he's ready to play. He's always ready, always prepared mentally, physically. Just, you know, he's able to bring a element to the game. It's unique. You know, he's so long. His catch radius. You know, you could put the ball anywhere around him, and he's going to make a play on it. And so, it's you know, it's nice having a guy like that, a little comfort blanket who, you know, he's going to make the tough catches, the contested catches, and, you know, make you look good doing it.
Hey Jimmy, how you doing? Hey, listen, I'm just curious as to the difference in the approach since there's no preseason games. You know, how different is that for you in the approach of the game? No real contact or anything before actually getting started.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Thought about it a little bit before training camp and all that, but you know, at the end of the day, all 32 teams are going through the same thing. You know, you try to prepare yourself on the practice field and make it as game-like as possible. I think, you know, our coaches do a great job of that, you know, letting guys thud up, going full speed. Obviously, we're not getting hit, but you get the feel of the game. And, you know, I think week one, you know, it's going to be here before we know it, so got to be ready for that.
Hey, Jimmy, I'm wondering if you, from a quarterback's perspective during camp, I know the interior defensive line with Contavious, Kevin Givens, Solomon, even Kerry Hyder, all those guys had really good camps. Well, as that defensive line rotated in depth-wise, did you feel any more heat than in past camps with them? I guess what I'm getting at is I'm wondering if we can expect this defensive line on the interior to be a little bit deeper this year.
You know, you definitely feel them. I've, you know, felt them throughout all the camp, felt them previous camps. Just kind of one of those things. You're glad they're on your side. You know, our D-line gets after it. It's every play in practice, every play in the game. It's impressive, but you know, that's why it's always a battle with them in our O-line. You'd love to see it during camp, and just you know, that stuff transfers over down the field.
Thank you, Jimmy.
All right, thanks, guys.
Hey, Solomon.
Hey.
I got a Daniel Brunskill question for you. He's a guy that played most of last year on at tackle. He's been playing guard and center this training camp, and just wondering if you've seen progress from him as far as an interior blocker.
Definitely. Dan's had a great camp. Last year, he stepped up big for us when injuries happened. Dan's a great player. He's versatile, which is a huge plus for him. He's been playing great at guard and also at center this camp, and it's been fun to see his progression and just how great of a teammate he is. Just being able to step in wherever we need him. So, we're very lucky to have Dan.
Hi, Solomon. It appears Contavious Street is obviously in a better position with his knee, this training camp than he has been in his first 2 years in the NFL. Has that been a stark difference to you, the way he's performed this summer?
Definitely. The way Street is moving, just how focused his mental is. You can just tell how much better he is just off his movement, off his body, off his personality. Street's playing great. He's being who he is in the locker room. It's been amazing and fun to see. He's been through some unfortunate events in his career so far, and it's just amazing to see him do well and see him happy. So I'm really proud of Street. Really happy for him and excited to see him play this year.
Hey, Solomon, building on that, I feel really a theme of camp, has been you've come in heavier for the inside, you're playing well, Street's playing well, Givens too. Even Kerry Hyder, I think initially, he plays everything, but his base is kind of the inside. Do you feel that you guys can be deeper on the interior defensive line? Is there a feeling of strong momentum within just specifically kind of that rotation on the inside?
Definitely. We have great depth right now. We're blessed to have guys who are able to play all over the place. But inside, like you said, Street's been having a great camp. Kevin Givens been having a great camp. Ken Law, DJ. All the interior guys have been having a great camp. So, it's gonna be fun to see, fun to go out and play and build that chemistry as a unit during games and just see how we ride through the year. So I'm excited for it. It's gonna be a great D-line and a lot of fun.
Hey, Solomon, you obviously talked about adding weight and just, Sala was talking about how you're inside pretty much exclusively this year, and that's helped a lot. But technically, have you added anything to your game, or have you just, over the summer, working with DeForest, did you just fine-tune some things?
Yeah, I gained a lot of weight, so that was huge for me. But also, focused a lot more on football this offseason. Just getting healthy, keeping my body healthy. A lot of rehab, a lot of work, but definitely a lot of more focus on football and more football technicalities. Work with Mark Hall, Eric Armstead, and DeForest, and a lot of the guys with Mark, and we just worked football every day. And so that was huge for me, just to be able to work those technicalities in the off season and work on those. Finding out my moves, finding out more about myself. Getting a better vision for the game. So that's really helped me, and it's helped me just be clear, be able to play free, and just focus on what I need to focus on.
Hey, Solomon, I know you all are trained at all four positions on the defensive line, but kind of you spending more time on the interior now, has there been an effect on your game and how much you've progressed this offseason?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. Can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. You're trained at all four positions on the defensive line, but you've been playing a lot more on the interior for practice. Has that affected you and how more comfortable you are out there, like what you feel like you are able to do?
Definitely. It's been nice to stay in one position a little longer than moving around every other play. It's just I get more comfortable, more used to it. So I'm more used to playing interior now. So getting those snaps all over again, everything's a little more similar than switching around to every other play, which I can do. And it's a benefit with me being versatile, but being able to just stick in the interior a little bit longer has definitely helped me out a little bit.
Solomon, with how focused you guys are as a group, getting off the ball at the snap, curious how it potentially being quieter inside the stadium impacts defensive linemen. Is it easier just because you're listening to the cadence, or are you maybe more prone to jumping off sides through a hard count, or are you just focused on, looking at the ball and jumping off that?
We're definitely focused on our keys, because if we're not if we're not focused on our keys, that's when we start jumping off sides, getting penalties and stuff. So we have to focus on, what coach tells us, watch the lineman, wait for or watch the back of the ball, whichever your key is, get a good feel for it during film. And once you see it move, just get off. So, that's the biggest thing for us because you don't want to rely on the cadence because that's when you jump off sides and the offense can get you. So you obviously want to rely on your keys and what you're taught to be disciplined with.
Hey, Solomon, I apologize for the randomness of this. I'll ask you to go back to your rookie year a little bit. Do you remember the sequence right before you guys acquired Jimmy? It was right at the trade deadline there. You played Philadelphia, and a lot of guys got injured in that game. What do you remember about that game and that time leading up to when you acquired Jimmy and maybe how that kind of altered, the outlook of the franchise at that point?
That game, definitely was a tough game. We had a lot of injuries, like you said. I sprained my MCL in that game. Not a fun game, but just bringing Jimmy in, just brought us some momentum. It brought us a brand new energy, a brand new swagger, and it was great, having Jimmy in, being the professional leader he is, being the professional he is, just how he approaches his work. Definitely motivated a lot of guys and gave us, a lot of hope and a lot of motivation that we got our guy now, so let's go rock. So it definitely was a huge change to the organization, and as you can tell now, Jimmy's our leader, and we love him.
Two more for Solomon.
Solomon, just was following up. You mentioned Contavious Street's personality. I think it was last year that Salah said he saw Contavious and his wife at a movie, and Contavious basically didn't say anything to him. Have you seen there is a personality there? Was he extremely quiet, or just how have you seen him change and maybe, I don't know, perhaps be more outgoing or whatever it is?
Definitely. Street's he's less tense now. He's more relaxed. He's just himself, making jokes with us, laughing with us, being more engaged, being more involved. It's hard being injured. He was injured his first 2 seasons with us. And, it's hard to always feel part of the group when you're always in the treatment room or when you're not out in practice, with the guys. So, it's a really tough road mentally being injured. So, for him finally being healthy, I feel like he feels like he's allowed to be with us now and allowed to be himself. And, it's great because Street's a great player. He's an amazing human being. And we all love him. So we're happy to see him happy. We're happy to see him play well.
Hey, Solomon, I just wanted to follow up on the workouts with DeForest and Eric. I remember on Instagram, DeForest, I think, posted they were doing some crazy sand runs out by the Pacific Ocean. Were you part of those? And even if not, what was the most fun or most memorable or most productive part of those workouts with them?
Yeah, so I only joined it on one of those. They go work out with a guy named Frank, or Sir, as they call him, up in at various different places in the Bay. And they're just military type workouts, just a lot of running, a lot of body weight stuff, and they're pretty deadly, as you can tell through the Instagram post from Eric and DeForest. So yeah, I went to one, and it was definitely a very tough workout, and I was dying myself. But great building. But the time with Mark, Eric, and DeForest and all those guys, it was just amazing just to be around that many high-profile defensive linemen and learn from all of them, but also just learn from Mark. And Mark has a great eye for technique. He has a great eye, how to teach people. He's just really good at evaluating and coaching. So, just being able to go through all that with them and go through like drills and everything in the offseason, which especially when we didn't have OTAs, was huge for me, so I could still get in that work and still progress while not being able to be with the team.
All right. Thank you, Solomon.
Thank you, everyone.